and that letter was put together by about 17 civil society organizations. These are the things that they want President Obama to talk about at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. Well, let's stay with that last issue, and probably one that should be underlined, the issue of corruption. It's a staggering fact that ipaidbribe.org.ke says that an average Kenyan pays about 16 bribes every month. That's a lot of bribes. And right now, let's bring in to this discussion the board chair of Transparency International, that is Jose Ugaz. Thank you so much for coming to join us this evening.
Thank you.
Now, I'm interested to know, because you have quite a long view of this, obviously, with your experience at Transparency International, and your corruption perception index did rank Kenya in the bottom quarter of the 177 countries that you rank. But from where you sit, how is Kenya doing when it comes to fighting corruption?
Well, we believe that there are serious issues regarding corruption, accountability, and basically impunity. From the information we receive and the contact we have through our national chapter here in the country, we still believe that there's a wide range of impunity. That means that people that are involved in real cases of corruption do not receive the sanctions they should because of their acts.
Right.
So impunity means that you do not assume the legal consequences of your actions and you go away with it. And the population is outraged with this because people is expecting that some results from the legal system should be delivered in order to avoid future actions of corruption.
Well, the president did make a very strong stance on corruption recently with that State of the Nation address, and then we had this list of shame that came out. But just like the civil society organizations have said, they feel like this is going nowhere. Are we making steps with this, or is this something that has pretty much stalled, do you think?
Well, we believe that this is a very interesting gesture from the president. We had a meeting this afternoon with a Solicitor General of Kenya, and he mentioned that he was really interested in going forward with these cases and investigations that should happen to these people that are on the list. So we expect that in a very near future that people will be informed of what is going to happen with these people and how these investigations are going to go forward.
Okay, but on a general scale, would you say Kenya is doing better than it was, much better than it was, or are we still where we were very many years ago?
I think there has not been a real improvement that we can measure at this point. We will have the next CPI probably launch in December, and then we will see if in the recent months some interesting movement happened in the ranking of anti-corruption. But still the perception and what we are receiving from the people in Kenya is that still considerable levels of corruption, that people is really angry because they are not observing results on the cases that become scandals. Everybody talks about them, the press covers them, but then nothing happens.
What can we do to change that? I mean, the EACC, for instance, which is the anti-corruption body, is supposed to be challenging this, but they actually received the lowest confidence ranking in the recent poll on public confidence. So when you have a situation like that, what does Kenya need to do to make sure that people who engage in corruption are held accountable at the end of the day?
One of the worst consequences of corruption is that it generates lack of trust in the government, and when people does not trust their government, then we have a governance issue. And I think that people here is quite tired of expecting consequences and not observing that. So the first thing that should be done is restore that trust. And to restore trust, you have to show the people that you are acting in order to solve the problem. So I think that's what should happen in the near future. In Transparency International, we are now involved in an initiative that we called the No Impunity Initiative, and we are expecting to have in the near future, through our national chapters, actions in order to break impunity and start bringing results for these corruption cases. And I'm quite confident that this can happen here, probably because the Solicitor General this afternoon told us that he's really interested in enforcing the law in order to obtain some results. So we expect that this will happen soon.
Okay, although we have heard these assurances before, but are there some specific recommendations that you're making to the government that these are some areas you must look into if we're going to win this fight?
Well, something that you need to demonstrate is that the system works. So you have this list, and you have some symbolic cases of corruption, and there are some big corruption cases sitting on the bench of justice here in Kenya. What we said to the Solicitor General is that they should try to demonstrate that results are possible. So what they should start doing right now is moving the system in order to generate convictions, and send people to prison if they are responsible for committing big actions of corruption.
And let's bring it to the 6th Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which will be taking place here. Obviously, also a sign that there's going to be a lot of investment coming into Kenya. There already is, but corruption is a big threat to that, isn't it?
Corruption is a deterrent for investment.
Yes.
And the polls that are available regarding business and private investment shows that when entrepreneurs receive these requests of bribes, for example, they immediately withdraw the investment they are expecting to make in some specific territory or nation or country. So it's the worst that could happen to a country that is expecting foreign investment in order to develop. So the government must be absolutely conscious that if they don't act against corruption, they are in the risk of losing considerable investment, because of course the capital will move to those places where they don't have this type of risks on over costs that corruption implies.
Absolutely, because many companies do end up having to factor that in as a cost of business.
Absolutely.
Which is entirely unfair. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. That was Oze Ugaz. He is the Transparency International Board Chair. We will of course continue to cover the Global Entrepreneurship Summit for you here on KTN.